Are we filming? Yes, we are. So, these are a pair of Stobok. That's the trade name, Stobok pens. They're made in China. They were very cheap. I got them on Amazon as a pair, and they're described as suitable for school use. But I really liked the look of them. I mean, they're made of basic, very plasticky, but I've been experimenting with them. This one is today I've inked that one for the first time, and I used some Parker dark blue ink in this one, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, but I'm going to use Noodler's Rome Burning, which I've used before, but I've not used with this nib. And what I like about this nib is it's described as a food nib. I don't know whether you can see. Let me just put that there. Can you see that the nib is slightly bent? That's better, isn't it? So it's definitely got a bend in it. And I don't know. I'm not an expert. One or two of you are experts, so I invite you to comment about this. I'm not an expert at this, but I'll tell you what. I'm very, very pleased with the results. It's a bit of a fun thing for me. But let me do some filling. So, one of the things I like about this pen is it's got a screw top. And it has a plunger. But the plunger has a sort of fairly foolproof click at the end, like that. And obviously I'm a big fan of clear pens like this, demonstrator pens if you like. And let's just fill this and empty it. Fill it again. Right, are we there? No, we're not. I need to put it in a little bit deeper into the ink. So, I'm making a pig's ear of this, as they say in the UK. There we go. I don't know my clockwise from my anti-clockwise. But let me just put the cap on this bottle. I'm a bit cautious about this because this is I have had many tables as an antiques dealer. This dates from around about 1890. It's like a butler's pantry table, if you like. Okay, let me just use a dark hand towel just to get rid of that. It doesn't really matter that it's made a mark, because that's what it's for. Let's have a little test. I'm going to post it, but to be honest, I'm not going to use this out and about. But it does have quite a positive click, and I like the clip as well. It's very, very tight, so it hangs on tenaciously to just even a simple piece of card. There we go. Really, really firm. I like that. It might loosen up with time, but I'm not really using it out and about, so it doesn't really matter. But So these are Stobok, but look at this nib, see what it does. Hopefully it will do the same thing as my other one. There, isn't that fantastic? Made in China. And it's a fude nib. And this is Rome burning, Noodler's Rome burning. Oh, room. Made a mistake there. Rome burning. So, as you can see, this is not really a nib for writing your journal or letters to your mother-in-law, but this is fantastic, in my humble opinion. This is going to be fantastic for me to, as you know, with some of my videos, I write as I'm talking, which is difficult. It's sometimes difficult, depends how tired I am. But it just shows up on the screen so much better than some other pen. If you look at, let me just put the nib on, the cap on. If you use another pen, this is one of these cheap, less than £1, these disposable pens, which I absolutely love. I'm using them quite a lot. But if I just write here, find nib, test. Now if you compare the two here, and this camera, or in this case my iPhone, is set to show, it's about the same distance as I normally have for reviewing things like small binders. But as you can see, this works very, very well for bullet points, especially if I've got my reading glasses on that are not great for distance, but they are good for close up, and so this catches my eye better than this. I don't have to squint. So there is a purpose, a method in the madness for having basically trying this nib, because I had this idea that it might work very, very well, and clearly it does. I like that. I like that a lot. If I just try the Quink ink. So this is again a Stobok. Same thing, you got them in a pair. Now I have seen these in packs of 2, where you get one normal nib and then one fude nib. But I don't know whether I was lucky or whatever, but these both had fude nibs, so I took a chance and I just went for it. Fude nib. And this is Parker. It's just blue ink. I like it. I like them both. Whoops. Let me screw that in. So, this isn't really a test of the inks, but this is Clairefontaine 50 GSM bank paper. And if we look on the other side, we can clearly see that this would be no good for fountain pen writing. But do you know what? If I'm I tend to use these A7 pieces for all sorts of things. If, for instance, I have an idea that if I have an article that I want to mention in my podcast, for instance, then I put them in here, and then once I've got maybe 10 ideas, then that's the time I do a podcast. But this is interesting that the show through is much worse with the Noodlers than the Quink ink, but it's still pretty bad. But the Noodlers is appalling. But at the end of the day, this isn't really what it's designed for, because I'm basically using just one side, so it doesn't really matter. And this is as an aid memoir. I'm going to use these for my bullet points, so that I don't forget what I'm trying to say. I don't follow a script, but I do like some bullet points. So there we go. This is a pair of what are described as Stobok, made in China, Stobok fountain pens, and they're very cheap, and they're designed allegedly for schools, but I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm going to do more pens and ink and things, but these aren't for testing, because I'm using some Papermate pens for testing, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos demonstrating ink on various paper. But I just wanted to share with you these, because these are going to be in my studio, if you like, my spare room, and I just think that those inks for bullet points is going to be fantastic. Some Noodler's brown or Rome burning, and some Quink blue ink that reminds me of. I haven't used Quink ink for 45 years, but it's a bit of nostalgia for me. So, thanks very much for watching. Until my next video, goodbye.